Good morning, my internet family. It's actually the morning of the day that I put this video up, and this is going to be all about study tips and study advice. There's my dad, he's bringing me to the airport. Do you want to say hello, Dad? You know, you're famous with my subscribers now. They love you.
Fuck off.
Thanks so much for all the support under the videos where my dad is in them, like the vlogs. It's so funny. I'm filming this now because my files from yesterday corrupted, which is so annoying because I had like a whole vlog. There's a few random things that remain, such as my lunch for some reason and playing with Bilbo. This is this thing we do with him with a stick where he goes absolutely mental. He's just such a little legend of a cat. And my bath, funnily enough. But yeah, all the actual good stuff is gone, so I have to redo this video. So all week I've been getting requests to do a video about study tips and study advice, and that's what I'm going to do today because I have got a lot of experience with exams and he knows that all too well. I'm a nightmare when I have to study and do exams. I know a lot of you are going through final exams right now and Christmas exams and stuff like that, and I know how much of a pain in the arse that they are. So when I was in school, in my final year, I actually didn't do very well. I stopped going into school after my nana passed away. Like, I just kept mitching off and skipping, and I was going out with a guy who also was kind of distracting me a lot from school, so I kind of just missed a lot of school and did bad in my exams. Then I went to work in a shop for a couple of years and never thought I would get to go to college or university or anything like that. I literally thought I was going to spend the rest of my life working in a place that I didn't really like. And then when I was about, I think 20, a school friend of mine and my ex-boyfriend encouraged me to go and do a PLC course to bridge the gap between school and university. So then I did that. I loved it. It was in education, and I ended up getting into a degree in education and training in Dublin City University, and I got like top of my class 3 years in a row. I got a 1.1 Bachelor of Science honours degree. So I'm qualified technically to give this advice, but it's mostly just from my own experiences and stuff like that, because I don't want to go into like teacher mode on you guys. I feel like I go into lecturer mode when I'm doing like lectures or like talks or whatever, but on YouTube I want this to be like more of just a place for me to go and vent and talk to like friends. One thing I want to say, and this is something we were taught in college, is that exams are a terrible way to test intelligence. Even lecturers who were giving us exams taught us that, because the education is making a very slow move toward like continuous assessment and other ways of testing various intelligences. So there's not just one intelligence, there's lots of different types, and many people aren't very like bookish, so they're not going to be all that great at learning for exams and memorizing stuff, but they might be very socially intelligent, or you know, intelligent in different ways, like musically or whatever. There's loads of different types, and there's a lot of different types of learning styles. So there's actually really easy ways to test what learning style you are. If you go onto the internet, just type in learning styles test or something like that, and it should help you figure out a way that is best for you specifically to learn, because we all learn information very differently, and it also depends on where you're at. So if you're in secondary school, which is what we call like school when you're a teenager here in Ireland, you're probably doing subjects that you're not really that interested in, and unfortunately we do all have to go through that in the education system. There's no two ways about it, and there were certain subjects I despised in school. Like, I loved music and I loved English, but other than that I kind of hated everything, didn't I? I hated maths, I hated science.
Well, obviously you hate geography because you haven't a fucking clue where you're going.
Of course it's different then when you come to university, where you can actually choose a subject that you want to do, and not everybody has to go to university, but I definitely encourage people to when they ask me, because I feel like I grew up a lot there and I changed a lot. I learned how to think analytically and critically, and I really enjoyed uni. Well, actually the first 2 years I was a bit awkward, wasn't I, and shy, and I didn't really have any friends because I was going through a lot personally, and it took like 2-3 years to come out of my shell, and then I just loved it. Anyway, on to some tips. One thing that we used to do, my dad and my brother would do it with me, is every night, remember, we would go for an hour-long walk, like a power walk, when me and my brother were in the midst of exams, because we both are very easily stressed, so going for that like fast-paced walk, and in the silence we would just go out, we wouldn't even talk to each other, and we would power walk, and that would really kind of help me. It's very important to exercise while you're spending long periods of time studying and sitting on your arse. Also eating well, and I know that this sounds like an obvious one, but eating things like superfoods. So if you type in superfoods into the internet, you'll get lists of things that are really good to include. So I would eat tons of things like nuts, bananas, broccoli, salmon, and I would never like try and like be on a diet or limiting my food at all during exams, because your brain needs fuel in order to work properly. So ditch energy drinks, try not drink like tons of coffee for caffeine. Instead drink things like matcha tea and green tea. They're much better. They won't give you that massive energy crash that you get with coffee and energy drinks, which are just like cause so much headaches and stuff. Like, I love a cup of coffee every day, but I know some students drink like 8 cups a day, and it's just not good. Having a workspace to do your studying is so important, and for me, like, now I'm gonna admit this, I am a messy feck. I'm very, very, very messy, and all my friends know this about me. Not dirty, not to be mixed with dirty, just messy. My room is chaos, my study area was chaos, but it was nonetheless my study area. And even though it was like mounds and piles of books and crap all over the place, like, I was actually vlogging during when I was in university. I think I vlogged handing in my thesis, but I worked well that way. I knew where everything was, but make sure that it's comfortable and well lit. They're 2 important things. And even like, I would love having vlogs on in the background. I would love having classical music playing in the background when I was studying. It just, that's the way I worked best. And you need to find a comfortable space, because when I was younger, like, my mum would always tell me, you know, sit at the table with the quiet and no TV on, and sit down and do your work. And I just, it didn't work for me at all. I would just sit there drawing pictures on my feckin' book. My style of learning obviously didn't suit very well with that setup. With some people that works amazingly well. The end goal is not often the actual information that you're learning in your degree. It depends, like, obviously if you're studying to be a doctor or something, you need to know specifics and things like that. Usually every degree or curriculum is aiming to overall getting you to think critically and learn how to analyze situations, and it's teaching you life skills that you're going to need in other areas and avenues of your life, and not just, you know, a list of different things that you have to know. What point was I on? Oh yes, so you obviously know I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't be leaving it till the night before for exams. However, now that we all know that exams are a pretty bullshit way of testing intelligence, I feel totally cool in admitting my strategy for exams probably wasn't the best, however got me through, and it's what an awful lot of people do, unfortunately. My best friend from university is called Emma, and what she and I would do before every exam is, and I know not everyone will be able to do this, but it really does work, we would hole up together for like 3, 4, 5 solid days. The 2 of us, we were really, really close, so we could spend like unlimited amounts of time around each other, and we would just be in our pajamas the whole time. We would get in loads of food, and we would sit together and write out like answers that we had to learn off word for word. And I'm talking like a few exams, she and I went into the exam and recited onto the page, like we shat our brains all over the paper, pages and pages and pages and pages of text that we had absolutely like learned off, memorized. With some exams you need to do that. Like, we had one subject called the history of education, and like your answers needed to include dates and all this kind of thing. It's a very learned behavior and a learned skill to write a really good solid essay, and I would always do mine backwards. Like, everyone would say not to start at the beginning, but I'm so like weirdly OCD about certain things that I would always have to have the intro perfect, and the intro for me would be then like a map for the rest of the essay, whereas a lot of my friends would dive right into the middle and they wouldn't write their intro until last. So again, that goes back to finding what suits you. I know a lot of people really get on well with colour, so having different highlighter pens and cards to write out little points on, sticky notes, post-it notes, all those kinds of things really help some people. Mind maps are a really great tool where you'll write the core subject in the middle and then have lots of little arrows and lines coming out of it, and it breaks the topic up and enables you to look at the page and kind of really see everything that you need to do. But then, like, the biggest thing I think is stress management, because like I know I said about walking and eating well and stuff, but there's no point in being stressed, guys. Like, all you can do is your best and forget the rest. Like, I've seen people write on the internet the word studying and then breaking the word up into student and dying. Like, I don't understand why we get so worked up on these things, and a lot of the time teachers are to blame, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm qualified as a teacher. Oh, we're at the airport now. But teachers want you to do well, and they want their numbers to do well because it reflects well on them when they're getting kind of looked at by their boss. So you need to remember that your teacher will probably make it out like it's the biggest deal ever. It really isn't. Like, I remember being so worked up about our junior cert, our leaving cert, thinking my life was over if I did badly, and I did badly in my leaving cert, but look at me now. I've got a degree and I'm self-employed in an area that I'm not even qualified in, like online media production and all that jazz. So know that it's like nothing's worth you getting extremely stressed over, and a challenge is good. A challenge with an exam or with a subject is good, and it gets us to, you know, work hard, and it teaches us dedication and all that kind of thing. However, when it comes to the point where it's interfering with the rest of your life and you're getting extremely anxious over it or crying a lot, that's just not worth it. Just doing your best in whatever situation. So if you've left it too long to learn off everything, take the time that you have, do your best. If you need to repeat, you need to repeat. Be best if you didn't, and just kind of like find a nice situation that helps you to learn. I have so much more to say, but I have to get out of the car. Leave comments down below, guys, and I will reply to a bunch of the comments about study tips. There's so much to say on this topic. I can't. You're gonna be late for your flight. I know. I have a flight to London to catch, and I need to upload this feckin' vlog. I'm sorry that the file's corrupted, guys. Okay, and I'm sorry I look like a lump of shite in this, but I'm getting my hair done in London. Forgive me, please. Bye, Dad. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.